afternoon and welcome to We Believe Digital Newsbreak here at We Believe Digital Studios in downtown Jackson, Mississippi. We are so glad you're joining us today. Got about 13 or 14 stories. It's possible you've seen them other places, but hopefully it's stories that you haven't quite seen yet, and we'll give you a little bit different perspective. My name is Chris Young, and we'll get started on this last news break show before Christmas. We'll be I'll be out next week. So start out at the local level in Jackson. Sticking to a Christmas budget is difficult for many, but the average person in the Jackson Metro will have to do more with less. We kind of know that already going in, but this is a national survey. The average projected holiday budget in Jackson is $537. This is the third lowest among major metropolitan areas across the country. The third lowest in the country. Gulfport, Mississippi average holiday budget is slightly better at $564, but this is the fifth lowest nationally. So two of the lowest in the nation right here in Mississippi. We are the poorest state in the nation. Everybody knows all that. The state of Mississippi would be bankrupt if it wasn't for the influx of funds from the federal government last year and for many years now. It's in the vicinity of 47% of Mississippi's income, if you will, money coming into the state coffers comes directly from the federal government. To determine the cities with the biggest holiday budgets, Wallet Hub compared 558 cities across 5 metrics. So they looked at income, age, debt to income ratio, monthly income to monthly expense ratio, and savings to monthly expense ratio. So that's the deal. Took a look this morning again at WLBT's homicide tracker. You know, crime is a thing here in Jackson. It's a really big thing. Different people trying to address it in different ways. Some of them a whole lot more kosher than others. But so as of this day, comparing to last year, we're 6 to 7, somewhere between 6 and 7 homicides less than this day last year. So, you know, the last 2 years, per capita, Jackson, Mississippi, had the most homicides per capita in the United States of America. So just off the mark this year. And we still have 16 days remaining in the year. 110, by the way, is the number so far this year. So we step out to the broader picture in Mississippi, you know, and I always tell you every time we come on the air that today is just another day that no elected Republican in our Republican-dominated legislature have called for hearings for the largest government fraud case in Mississippi history. Doesn't that seem just a little bit perplexing? Doesn't it seem like these the powerful Republican dominated legislature would want themselves to shed more light on this, to want to get more to the bottom of what's going on? Well, if you think that, you would be wrong. They don't want that. They want to keep it in the darkness. Things are going along, civil cases going along, you know, and several people deeply involved have already pleaded guilty. But these guys, these people over there, they don't want to talk about it now. They claim to be a good, solid citizens, Christian, all of them, just Christian as the day is long. Most of them on their bios, they tell you which church they belong to and everything. But you have this theft by these high-ranking officials and their appointees. But it's not just theft. It's theft from a federal safety net fund designed to help the poorest people in the poorest state of America. And they pilfered, stole, redirected, misspent, whatever word you prefer, a minimum $77 million for their own needs, their own agenda that didn't have anything to do with helping the poorest families in Mississippi. It's just a sinful behavior, but that's what we have here every day. In one way or another, we have that going on here in Mississippi. We're sizzling in Mississippi. You know, maybe one step away from Mississippi still burning. The Democrats have held 2 hearings so far. The Republicans have held none whatsoever, 0. Nor have they really spoken out. I mean, not even a, little few sentences to a Capitol reporter or something like that. So a story out of Jackson that affects a broader part of Mississippi. Mississippi grand jury has declined to indict a police officer who responded to a call and shot and wounded an unarmed 11-year-old boy inside the home. The grand jury found that Indianola Police Sergeant Greg Capers didn't engage in criminal conduct when he shot Adarian Murray in the chest on May 20th while responding to a domestic dispute. Murray was hospitalized for 5 days with a collapsed lung, lacerated liver, and fractured ribs from the gunshot wound in his chest. The Mississippi Attorney General's office, now here's a crowd for you, which presented the case to a Sunflower County grand jury, announced the decision yesterday, in a written statement. Carlos Moore, Murray's attorney, said the family would seek accountability through a federal civil lawsuit. Carlos Moore says, while the grand jury has spoken, we firmly believe that there are unanswered questions and that the shooting of Adarian Murray was not justified. We are committed to seeking justice for Adarian and his family. From WJTV in Jackson, bomb threats on yesterday all over the state. Bomb threats called into multiple locations across Mississippi, including 4 airports and a synagogue. In Jackson, officials with the Jackson Municipal Airport Authority said they received a potential threat to the Jackson Medgar Wiley Evers International Airport on Thursday. Officials said airport police are working with their mutual aid security partners to investigate the incident. The Tupelo, long ways from Jackson, Tupelo Regional Airport and the Gulfport Biloxi International Airport were both evacuated on yesterday while authorities responded to the scene. Same thing. WLOX reported a threat was also sent to the Stennis International Airport. In Columbus, Mississippi, WCBI reported police responded to a bomb threat at Temple B'nai Israel. The call came in directly to the synagogue. Department of Homeland Security and Federal Bureau of Investigation have been notified about the incidents. In a report, originally, it looks like from The Hill, the media company The Hill, nearly 2,000 cases of Coca-Cola products were recalled in 3 southern states in recent weeks. The FDA acknowledged in an advisory this week the 12-pack cases, 417 of Diet Coke, 14 12-pack cases of Orange Fanta, and 1,557 12-pack cases of Sprite were distributed across Alabama, Mississippi, and Florida. But the company last month began voluntarily pulling them because of the potential presence of, quote, foreign materials, unquote, in the drinks. The FDA didn't specify what the foreign materials may have been. If you go to WJTV, they've got a good story on this, and they also have all the numbers that you might want to check in case you have some of these in the pantry or maybe even in the fridge. You can go to WJTV.com and look at the story and get the affected UPC numbers for those batches, and then you can cross-check that against what you might have at home. Governor Tate Reeves, the newly reelected governor of Mississippi, Tate Reeves. His name is Jonathan, but he likes to go by Tate, so you know. He appointed William, who liked to go by Bill, William Bill Cork, as executive director and chief economic development officer for the state of Mississippi. And Stephen McDevitt as chief investment officer. Reeves says, this is the current governor, Reeves, says Mississippi achieves record-breaking levels of economic development in recent years. You got to shake your head like this. And we have no plans to slow down anytime soon. We are committed to expanding our economy, driving further growth, raising wages, and bringing in more jobs for the people of Mississippi. This team will be key to accomplishing that mission, and I have the utmost confidence in them. Well, you know, it looked like it may be lipstick on a pig. Is lipstick on a pig different than just lying? Because the Bureau of Labor Statistics say just this last month, there's only one state in the nation that has a slower economic growth than Mississippi, and that state is Rhode Island with negative growth. Mississippi is a flat, even 0.0% economic growth, they said last month. So, but he says we have record-breaking levels of economic development. Man, oh man, how do you do stuff like that? How do you say that kind of stuff out loud when it just the evidence is just not there? So we'll get started on our national news stories here with this first story, and then we'll go to a break after that. So this comes out of Washington and from NBC News. Yesterday, senators passed a bill that would give a retroactive pay raise to service members who were affected by the Senator Tommy Tuberville's months-long hold on military promotions. Those promotions become a big deal because lots and lots of times promotions are tied to transfer orders to go to different places, and there's all kinds of money involved, as you know, in getting moves done, relocating kids, schools, all this kind of stuff. It's a big deal. So the measure was passed unanimously. All 100 senators agreed, and no roll call vote was needed. Tonight, at least, we're giving these military families that already sacrificed so much, the justice they deserve and back pay, said Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, the Democrat from New York. America is keeping its promise and saying to these men and women, you served us well. You don't deserve to be penalized in any way at all. The bill was spearheaded by a bipartisan group: Joe Manchin, Mike Rounds, Joni Ernst, and Angus King. Tuberville, the guy that caused all the mess, actually signed on as a co-sponsor. How about that? Hundreds and hundreds of promotions delayed. 2 different services went without a service chief for months on end because of his behavior opposing the Department of Defense policy on abortion, wherein if a service member is in need of abortion services and the area that she is in doesn't provide, that state doesn't provide those services, the DOD provides for her to go somewhere else to get those services. He was against that, but then he finally caved. So he dropped his blockade of more than 400 military promotions, ending a 10-month-long fight against the DOD. The Senate promptly conferred 425 military nominees after his hold was lifted. So good job, Senator Tuberville of Alabama. I wish he'd have stayed in football coaching and not become a U.S. Senator. That's just too much power for one person to hold to gum up the works like that. So we'll step out now for a couple of commercials, and then we'll be right back with you.
Have you had your Earthblend coffee today? At Earthblend Coffee, we take pride in offering you the very best of beans across the world, blended and roasted to perfection, giving you superior quality and satisfying and flavorful taste. Experience the world in one cup with Earthblend Coffee. To order, visit earthblendcoffee.co now.
The Mississippi Link is an African-American female-owned newspaper with a trusted voice that is highly respected throughout the city, state, and nation. Our motto, Keepers of the Knowledge for People Who Speak the Truth, since 1993. Link significantly influences the thoughts, attitudes, and buying decisions of its readers. Call us at 601-368-8481 for your advertising needs. If you would like to receive a newspaper in the mail each week, our annual subscription is only $52 per year. That is only $1 per week for you to stay informed regarding many stories that you can only get in the Mississippi Link. Sign up today at themississippiLink.com and click on Home Delivery.
Welcome back, everybody, to We Believe Digital Newsbreak, our twice-weekly newsbreak show. We will be out next week, but then picking back up Christmas on Monday, so 2 days after Christmas. And speaking of that, are you dreaming of a white Christmas? Is anybody looking for that snow on the ground? So if so, those dreams may have to wait till next year. Above average temperatures are forecasted for the majority. Something like 47 out of 48 of the lower 48. Forecast for from 21 to 27 to have 21 to 27 December to have above average temperatures. For the second year in a row, weather conditions around the country will be lacking widespread cold air and precipitation, the two necessary ingredients to produce snow. For some northern and mountain locations, however, old snow cover from previous winter storms could help notch a white Christmas. This includes portions of the Rockies, Cascades, and Sierra Mountains, as well as extreme northern portions of Minnesota, Michigan, and Maine. Do you know what the definition of a white Christmas is? According to the National Weather Service, they say it's at least 1 inch of snow on the ground at 7 p.m. local time. 7 a.m. local time on December 25th. The snow can be old or a brand new coating. How about that? A story out of Detroit, General Motors. Man, oh man, they finally get that strike back in place. Ha ha. They dropping the other foot here. General Motors plans to lay off 1,300 workers in Michigan starting early next year due to vehicles they produce ending production. And one of these ones kind of shocking to me, but maybe not to you. The company disclosed in state documents that the largest layoffs were expected. The largest of the layoffs were expected. They include 945 workers at the Orion Assembly Plant, who builds the Chevrolet Bolt, B-O-L-T, which are ending production within the next couple days. No more is there going to be no more new Chevy bolts coming off the assembly line for next year. The final production date is scheduled for December 18th. So, just a few days from now. And the other plant is a plant that makes the Camaro. So no more Camaro. Didn't the Camaro go away for a minute and then it came back? Well, they're going to stop on December 18th. They're going to stop building new Camaros. Sad story connected to the, Hall of Fame forward George McGinnis. George McGinnis, one of me and my little brother Timmy's favorite players growing up. He died a couple days ago at age 73. He was a Hall of Fame forward, two-time ABA champion, three-time All-Star in the NBA and the ABA. The Indiana Pacers said he died early Thursday morning following complications from cardiac arrest suffered last week at his home. McGinnis also struggled to walk in recent years after undergoing multiple back surgeries because of a hereditary condition. His uniquely deep, deliberate voice, warm personality, and passion for the sport helped him create a tight bond with the fans around his basketball-rich home state, Indiana. Here they watched his development from Indianapolis prep star into an unstoppable force in his one and only college season at Indiana University before eventually taking the Indiana Pacers to those two titles. From his all-state high school days to his time in IU All-American, and of course to his legendary ABA championship runs with the Pacers, George McGinnis shaped so many of the fondest basketball memories for generations of Hoosiers, and much more than Hoosiers. He was the very definition of an Indiana basketball legend, a champion and Hall of Fame athlete. The result, he earned multiple All-ABA and All-NBA honors and was named the 1973 ABA playoff MVP in just his second pro season. After making the ABA All-Rookie team in 71-72, he took home All-NBA honors in his first season, 75-76, in the more established league. McGinnis' best season came in 74-75 when he won the ABA scoring title, 29.8 points per game. Finished second in steals with 2.6 per game, third in assists with 6.3 per game, and fifth in rebounds. Wow, with 14.3. He shared the league's MVP award with Hall of Famer Julius Erving, his future teammate in Philly. McGinnis had over 17,000 points, over 9,000 rebounds, and over 3,000 assists. Was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2017. Rest in power, George McGinnis. So we're shifting out to the Israel-Hamas war as we start to wind down. And again, I pull this from the NBC News because it's so comprehensive and really lets you know what's going on without any of the extra stuff. I mean, you could spend your life full time working on keeping up with this Israel-Hamas war. But from NBC News, on a visit to Israel today, White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan said the United States want to see results on avoiding citizen casualties in Gaza. He was speaking in Israel after meeting with officials there amid spiking tensions between the two countries. Earlier, two U.S. officials said the Biden administration has told the Israeli government that it wants to see it end the large-scale ground campaign and transition to a more targeted phase of its war against Hamas. Nearly half of the munitions Israel has dropped on Gaza are less precise, what they call dumb bombs, according to an assessment from the Office of the Director of National Intelligence that was shared with Congress. Two sources familiar with the matter had told NBC News. More than 18,700 Palestinians have been killed, with 70% of them women and children, according to the territory's health officials. The vast majority of its 2.2 million people are displaced, and an estimated half face starvation amid an unfolding humanitarian crisis. Israel military officials say 116 soldiers have been killed during the country's ground invasion in Gaza, which came after Hamas militants killed 1,200 people and seized about 200 hostages on October 7th. No kind of proportion going on there. Not that any death is good or equal to another, but boy, it's people that have nothing to do with Hamas are getting killed day in and day out. Danish shipping company Maersk has said it's pausing all journeys they should say voyages, all voyages through the Red Sea. The decision comes after a spate of attacks on vessels launched from a part of Yemen controlled by the Houthis, an Iran-backed rebel movement. The group has declared their support for Hamas and says they are targeting ships that are traveling to Israel. The Red Sea is one of the world's most important routes for oil and fuel shipments. If you can't get up through the Red Sea and through the Suez Canal, you got to go around South America, and that is takes much, much longer, much, much more expensive. The recent attacks on commercial vessels in the area are alarming and pose a significant threat to the safety and security of seafarers, according to a statement released by Maersk, or rather sent by Maersk to the BBC. Quote, following the near-miss incident involving the ship called Maersk Gibraltar yesterday, Thursday, and yet another attack this morning, we have instructed all Maersk vessels in the area bound to pass through the Bab el-Mandeb Straits to pause their journey until further notice. Those straits allow you into the top of the Red Sea. So that's the news break for you today on We Believe Digital. Of course, we invite you to look at all our different programming, and remember, we also have WBLV Radio now, streaming around the clock. You go to WeBelieveDigital.com and scroll down till you see the radio tab. Click it, and there you go. Southern Soul, Gospel, and Blues, 24 hours a day. So that's it for today, and certainly wishing everyone a Merry Christmas and a Merry Kwanzaa, and we look forward to being back with you again a couple days after Christmas. Take good care.